hop back here in that camper picture. Freaking camper.
Music takes station to the center of the line.
Five. Rest.
One of those.
Still do a dance with the Indians, Jerry?
Oh, I say what?
You gonna dance?
I haven't. But I think we should for when we're standing here yakking. Yeah. Now what can we put in that?
Cartridge. Stimulate. Prime pan. Shut pan. Ram down. Cartridge. Get it started back in the pipe. Return. Rammer. Give up. Take aim. Fire. Shoulder.
Regimental coats and uniforms similar to what I'm wearing. Our impression of Crockett's battalion is as they would have looked.
Chester. Cock! Fire lock! Take aim! Shoulder! Fire lock!
Potential. But today you see a realization of the
The Honorable John D. Rockefeller IV.
Hi, everybody. Those of you who would care to sit down should make yourself comfortable.
Okay.
To Ms. Campbell, to Joe Albright, any visit to Blennerhassett Island is happy, whether it is a warm day or a cool one. That is because this is an unusual treasure bestowed upon us by God, nurtured by our forefathers, and forefathers, in fact, who came to be known to much of the state only recently. That is often the way history works. History and those who have helped to shape it are, for the most part, not made up of people of great and everlasting fame, but are people who have done extraordinary things during extraordinary moments in our history, and then have come to be known through the hard work of a group of dedicated individuals. Those individuals are here this afternoon, both behind me and in front of me. Freedom is not an unwarranted subject for matters of consideration in our Constitution. We are a free people. We are free to say and do what we want, provided that it is within the law.
I should be getting a new issue next month.
Cutting until it's crumb.
Until it's crummy. Oh, okay.
Well, that at least didn't work out right. Now cut it in halves.
Careful. Watch where you're pointing.
Yes, Shimani, if I must give you some here. Yeah.
One guy, he's got one just like Washington, man. Copy one, you see one.
Deal with them? Yeah, if they want to. We got one of our ladies is going to be on the British side too.
Okay,
so.
if you got one on the American side, we have a regular Molly, have one with the lights.
Right, very good. Now we have to talk military now, like we're actually being said.
A question too about your 2 shots.
Mm-hmm.
The second shot taking out the lights. Is that going to be your first shot that misses from the swivel gun or from the 3-pounder?
Okay, the swivel gun doesn't come into account. It's always a 3-pounder. But the problem that we're going to have with the British strategy this weekend, or in this upcoming battle, is the fact that we outnumber the British so completely. That may be a liability. We have to remember not to piecemeal waste our men, simply to overpower a weakened foe.
Man, stand still, huh?
Papa, sauce.
It was very
You know, that was the minor points of it. I don't know the proper terminology for it. But
That sketch of the Cavaliers.
Yeah, that's
Okay. To what extent are these uniforms, the encampment, and the enactment of the battle realistic?
They're realistic to the point that our modern technology will allow us to be. For instance, if you have to have a 100% correct wool for your coat, you may not be able to buy it locally. You might have to go as far away to England to get your red wool, such as what I have on the cuffs of this coat. Fortunately, the blue wool that my regiment uses is 100% wool. It's 24 ounce, very heavy stuff. But we drive all the way down to Apple Creek, Ohio, which from where we're at is a 3-hour drive just to buy this stuff from a store where Amish people trade. And we were able to get the materials we want. So everything is totally correct as far as we can go. Now, by that I mean like our cannon. Our cannon over there should have all iron parts. 18th century iron is almost unavailable today. In fact, you can't get it at any price. So we use low carbon steel because it's the same general consistency. So as far as the camp goes, we know how von Steuben set a camp up. We know how the Continental Army did. They have the records. So we try to set up as much as we can according to the way they did it. So the tents are spaced 20 feet apart from front to front. The officer's marquee is 20 feet behind that. There's a tent spaced every 8 feet along the line, which leaves about 2 foot between the tents, depending. We know they had some kind of bedding, so we provide the straw. Things like pop cans, Pop-Tarts, bananas, things like that you didn't have, we totally keep out of sight. Now, that's not to say that a kid might not have a cup full of Pepsi in here, but he's got it in a cup and you can't tell. So we try to keep everything as totally correct as we can. Now, some units will go so far as to hand sew their uniforms. Now, I don't go that way because when I was at the Smithsonian Institute looking at Washington's uniform and an original coat that's at the Fort Wayne Museum, which will be on display very soon, this is Fort Wayne, Indiana, I saw hand stitching in here that's 200 years old that looks identically like a sewing machine. I mean, just, 18 stitches per inch, just like they did. Now, little girls historically were trained to do this from as soon as they could walk, and uniforms and things were made like this. So I use a machine, but I do that because I believe that it looks closer. Now, some of these other guys, they have on their records, for instance, like the Crockett's Battalion, that they had been given cloth in the field to make their uniforms from, and they had to cut this cloth up into with patterns and sew it together themselves. Now you can imagine a bunch of men in the field sewing their uniforms together. They'd hardly hold together if they were done right at all. So theirs are that way. They've got the big ungainly stitches that are all crooked and the sleeves are puckered and the whole thing, but that's correct for what they're doing. So we try to keep it as totally correct as we can. Now, being an officer's tough, because for part of my correctness, I have to come up with all this expensive gold lace and the white wig and the whole kit. But it's tough for a family man too. Bill and Jan Anderson have 4 children here with them this weekend, and one of the girls' boyfriends, and they're feeding all those kids, and they're taking them all around and bedding them down in the tents and everything, and they're doing it all 18th century. Nothing cheating. So they stick to the book as correct as possible. Now that's what makes groups like ours different from lesser groups that profess to do these things, but they don't have quite the dedication. So our fun is in the historical reenactment. Some other people's fun might be in the shooting. So we are doing the very best job we can, we feel, to bring across what life in the 18th century was really like.
But the highlight of the day was surely this mock 18th century battle.
Step back. Give fire.
Now the British troops are returning fire with musketry.
Fire.
Okay. Search
Gives up. British move their infantry out. It was not
Prime and load. Shorty, march! Prepare to halt. Halt. Make ready. Fire! Take one more shot and we're going to reform it. Go ahead and take a shot. Todd, John. Huzzah! Many a battle was decided cold steel. It looks like the British, except for their... The British commander has asked for the British. Hip hip. At which he was under his
Well, there we go. Say it wouldn't. But that picture, or that movie, where the guys called down the gun deck of the USS Constitution, shoot this gun, it's just got too much mass in it to really get that heavy. Now this is a correct iron 3-pounder.